if you're a fan of the podcast, you hear me end every podcast with helping you reach your level of wellness. It's something I've spoken about several times. In fact, I made the first podcast of this entire show on the fact that every client comes to us for the same reason, and that is to make them feel better about being themselves. Well, that comes from addressing a client's why. Well, for our 200th episode, I thought that I would like to give you the reason why I'm so passionate about attacking the lie of age. In other words, I would like to share with you my why today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you so much for being a fan of the show. Thank you so much for being a supporter of the show, because I'm happy to say that we're today recording our 200th episode. It's quite a milestone. Wait a second. I think I have a button for that somewhere. Let's see. There it is. Our 200th episode, and I'm pretty excited about it, just to say the least. I'm not sure if you could hear that or not. I'm not sure if I have the sound pad turned up enough for it, but it was a nice celebration. We're pretty excited here to be sharing our 200th episode, and I want to dive into it today. It took me a while to put together what I was going to actually talk about on the 200th episode, and I think I woke up this morning around 3:00, and it hit me what I thought I should share with you. So let me tell you, as always, how to get in touch with the show if you have any questions, and I'll continue that thought process in a second. But if you're interested in any questions about this show or any others, or as always, any questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, please contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That, of course, is our website, personaledgefitness.com, and also our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Hit me up on Twitter at Team PE if you are so inclined. And you can also reach out to us. You can reach out to us through the website. But if you're wanting just some general information, you want to ask one of the other staff members something, or want to make sure it gets to Erica in case there's a scheduling, you want to set up a consult. Another email address is info@personaledgefitness.com. I don't think I've ever shared that on the show. It doesn't sound like it, but I'm quite excited. This is our 200th episode. So we've been doing this quite a few years now, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've had incredible feedback for the show, and I had a lot of I had some people reach out to me that aren't connected to Personal Edge in any way, shape, or form, that are fans of the show and said that it's made a difference in their life, and have actually repeated things to me that they'd heard on the show, and that means a lot to me. It is a passion of mine to help dispel the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, no matter if somebody becomes a client of Personal Edge or not. But what woke me up this morning was like my 100th episode. 100th episode was a milestone. Of course, I spoke on the lie of age, which you know is my favorite topic to speak on. And if you're new to the show, then the lie of age is simply put, it's the ridiculous concept that time passing on a calendar actually causes deterioration. And I always say that's a lie. Anybody telling you that is lying to you. Anybody saying that is a liar. It boils down to four things that actually cause degeneration. The four things are fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset. And mindset being the most significant. If you lose that battle, then 60%, I argue, 60% of your battle is over. Nobody. I don't know of anybody that talks about this on a regular basis. I'm not sure if anybody really attacks the lie of age like this, especially using those four concepts. But I've been talking about this for years. It's very near and dear to my heart. I've had speaking engagements when I was spoken to a garden club of 8 wonderful ladies. It was a fantastic presentation, and I've spoken to as many as 300. I've done a radio show where I did this in a 5-part series and on my radio show and on my podcast. When I have my radio show and on every single podcast, I don't think there's a single one that I don't mention the live age. But I've engaged with several people in this conversation, from all walks of life, from clients to a lot of health professionals. That some that disagreed with me, some that agree with me. There's a few of them that I correspond with on a regular basis, not just in Mobile, but is across the nation on this topic, and it never ceases to amaze me that how many, especially health professionals, just have a real problem with this. That are just laugh it off. It's almost like saying that, you can walk through a wall. Oh, that's not even possible. I'm not even going to think about looking at it. But there's not one clinical study on the earth that proves that time passing on a calendar causes deterioration. And I have seen the damage that is done with clients and friends and throughout my life. But we talk all the time about reaching your level of wellness. And you may have heard me tell the story about the fact that nobody comes to Personal Edge for a physical reason. And I know that sounds crazy because there's not a single consult that I'm not talking about making physical changes, and in most consults I'm not talking about somebody dealing with some sort of physical ailment, disability, weakness, whatever. But the secret to our success, the secret sauce, as my Vistage chair calls it. In fact, he actually described it better than anybody. He's fantastic. Once I told him the concept of reaching somebody's level of wellness and what that means, and the fact that our mission statement is we seek to make people feel better about being themselves, he was able to put the verbiage to it like I never had before. And in fact, it happens to be in the strategic plan of my business. But our almost every successful business has a secret sauce, and our secret sauce is we treat the psychological reason for the physical symptom for why a client came to Personal Edge. Because those physical ailments, I want to drop 10 pounds, or I'm not strong enough, I want to get stronger. I've got a torn rotator cuff I'm trying to repair. There's always a psychological reason behind that, and we call that somebody's why. There's many books written on. There's one very famous one written on I've forgotten what it's titled, but it has why in the title, and it's something like search for the why. I find the why, and look for the why, something like that. And that's what we look for. And our true success and our secret sauce is finding that and addressing that why. And my directors and my client coordinators are tremendous at doing that when they're establishing protocols. So I thought today that if you've ever heard me speak on this and a fan of the podcast, you notice that I seem to be driven by this attacking the lie of age. And I was given a presentation one time, actually doing my strategic plan, and I was talking about the lie of age. I actually did the presentation of the lie of age, and I was getting questions from my the group I was speaking to, and they could see when they would throw me a question out, it was almost like a dog with a bone. I could not wait for the person to finish the question because I was ready to attack it. And if you've seen me you heard me do that on the show. I seem to get very angry about this, and one person in that group that day just laughed, and he said, I love your passion. And I felt I was so appreciative to hear him say that. And the reason being is because when I get so angered and respond the way I do, many times I feel bad about it because I don't mean to attack somebody when I'm doing this. It's just this lie, and the fact that it's perpetuated is very personal to me, and I appreciate him calling it passion and not calling it anger. And I thought about it, and it is a passion, but there is a why. There is a why behind the lie of age, and I don't know that I've ever discussed it on the show. So I thought for the 200th episode, as I said, that I would cover my why. The lie of age actually started as an argument. You can see the anger now. It started as an argument, and I was an athlete. You've heard me say that on the show. I'm an athlete now, but I was a pole vaulter. I was a gymnast and a swimmer and a diver, but pole vaulting is what I did in high school and ended up doing in college, and I still love it today. I don't jump anymore, but I still love it today. We're working with some vaulters here at Personal Edge, and I was very passionate about it. And I got into a discussion with a physician, and he had said something that really, well, quite frankly, it pissed me off. And this was when I was in my teens. And he said, that's great and fantastic. And I got to say, it was probably the one great thing I had going. I was in arts and did well with that. In my school, as I've said before, I've said this on the show, that my brother graduated from college cum laude, and that's true. He got his bachelor's degree in cum laude. And I always tell everybody I graduated, thank you, Laude. So, I won't say I was the best student. But the one thing I was really good at, and I was very advanced, was my track and field, was pole vaulting. I was a varsity vaulter in the 8th grade. And had a few state records, and it was a real high point in my life, and then I had this person tell me, that that's great, but that stuff all stops, you lose that, and the magic number that he used was 35. All that stuff, you lose all that stuff at 35 years old. And it hit me. I seriously think the good Lord was involved in this. Why would that of all the things that this person who and I had arguments with before, why would that stick in my brain so much? And I didn't know what I know now, but that's where it started. That's what caused me to research this, and this particular individual, this particular physician, was a very prominent physician in our hometown, and he was practiced for 35 years, and was a phenomenal physician. Many people know that I knew this individual, and to this day, still talk about the fact they were patients of his, and I have many clients. We had many patients of his, clients of mine, that we shared, and actually sent people to me. There are many physicians that I work with right now, and I have the utmost respect for, by all means, and not only physicians but physical therapists. A lot of people in the health profession that I have an utmost respect for, though we may differ on this particular topic, and I held this individual in extremely high regard. He was the first physician of his kind in this area, as a matter of fact, and he did not only was he a tremendous physician in this area, but some of the abilities that he had and specialties that he had were not offered in some of the smaller communities surrounding Mobile, and so on a regular basis he would go once a week and drive hours away and take a nurse with him, and he would actually do these procedures in these remote areas around Mobile that didn't have those medical talents nearby. Not only that, he loved this town, as I do. I'm born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm very passionate about it. I'm involved in the community, but nothing to the level that this physician was. He happened to be, not only did he, not only was he the chief police surgeon, he and another physician started the police surgeons here in Mobile. And what the police surgeons are, if you don't know, they're basically on call for the Mobile Police Department, and many towns have a police surgeon. And if they have a need for an officer getting hurt, and many of them are on a call rotation and will actually ride. They're on call every single night, 365 days a year, for the police department. Some of them even ride with the police officers in case an officer has a problem, or if they are subduing a victim, subduing a perpetrator, and that person has a problem. And this particular physician saved a policeman's life he was shot, and they were waiting for the paramedics to get there because he didn't have with him what he needed to care for a bullet wound. I mean, no matter what, they have to have the paramedics come. So he actually sat with the officer with his finger in the bullet hole and saved this officer's life. He was also the chief fire surgeon. And I think I said this a minute ago, but he and another physician actually started this in Mobile. It goes on to this day. Not only that but he was one of the pioneers of the emergency 911 system here in not only Mobile, in the state of Alabama. There were several states that sent people to Alabama to review their system because it was so incredible. And he was one of the pioneers of it. And I've spoken to one of the state legislators who stopped me somewhere when he found out who I was and knew I was acquainted with this physician. He said, "Do you know this story?" He actually helped me write the legislation for the EMS, the 911 system, and which I thought was amazing. So I had a lot of respect for this physician, but on a regular basis, almost any time we were together for a long amount of time, especially around other people in a social situation or whatever, somebody would ask me about pole vaulting or athletics or what have you. And in my high school years, I would ask them about athletics when I became an exercise specialist and an exercise scientist and actually was going to get my master's degree. They started asking me more about exercise and wanted information about that. And if he was around, he would always come up with that statement of, well, that's great, but you stop all that at 35. In fact, at one point in time, he called fitness a fad. In fact, numerous times he said it was a fad. And this really irked me. And at the time, I didn't have the wherewithal to make the argument like I do now. But I look back and I realized that's what drove me to put together the argument of the live age. That's what drove me to do the research. That's what drove me that every time I heard somebody say, well, that happens because of your age. Whatever that was, high blood pressure, slow metabolism, creeping obesity, whatever, I would go and start researching that. I almost didn't realize I was doing it, but it would stick in my brain. I would not forget it, and I would start researching it. And to try to find out, first thing, if it was true, and obviously, because of the argument that I kept losing with this particular physician, I wanted to prove it wrong. And I found out something interesting, that all the years that I realized I was trying to win an argument, and I was trying to prove this person wrong. And I don't know where this came from, but I found the best way to win an argument, win a discussion is try hard to prove their side. I mean, so eventually in my studies, especially my master's degree, I started working hard to try to prove me wrong. And to make sure that I think that's the ultimate test to an argument, is that, can I prove myself wrong? And if I can't, well, then what I believe is got to be correct, especially if I can back it up with studies, which you've heard me do on numerous occasions. Funny, today I'm not talking about any studies. But I even used that argument. I used that argument in a talk when I was named in my high school athletic Hall of Fame, of telling the students that the school means a lot to you and your education is fantastic, which everybody that was award winner actually heard that. And instead, I turned it around and I said, "I tell you what, why don't y'all prove it to me?" And I proved to all of them by asking by a show of hands if the school had made a difference in their lives, and it had. Now the reason I bring that up is the same thing. Okay, why don't you prove me wrong? Because I'm not going to tell you this, and I want you to try to prove me wrong. So I've used that thought process to research this particular topic, and it was all driven by these arguments that I had for about 30 years. And I'm still researching. I'm still bringing this out. I just capping a series on is it age or is it something else? And I'm going to continue on with that. We're taking a break from it. Today is the final kind of capping that series. Then I thought it was a good idea to like I say, get into the why. Well, going back to that argument, at some point in time, you hope when you're involved in an argument, you're involved in a discussion or something, that there's an end to it. There's a winner, for lack of a better term. And well, I won that argument. And I won it in a very unique way. I won that argument at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. When that particular physician, he was a snazzy dresser. And he was dressed to the nines, and he was loaded up in his SUV with a beautiful watch on the wrist. He had a affinity for watches. And before he cranked his car up to leave his house, he had a massive heart attack and died. And he was 71 years old. I knew this individual well, and I knew there was no heart disease in his family. Everyone around him, the physicians, health professionals around him, the physicians that were closest to him knew that this was lifestyle driven. I knew it was lifestyle driven. I knew that he didn't exercise. I knew that he didn't control his food. And I knew he didn't believe in basically what I preached. And the reason I said I won this argument, and I never mentioned that I was proud. I'm proud to say that I won this argument, because I'm not proud to say that I won that argument. And because I'm certain that this was a difficult time for his patients. I mean, there were many that I shared as clients, and also friends and people that knew that I knew this individual. And so and they told me, they lost a great one, and had many stories of people telling me of the wonderful things this physician had done. So I knew it was difficult for him. For them, it was very difficult for the community. Shortly before he passed, Mardi Gras had happened. That was one of his favorite times of the year, because he loved to ride with the police at Mardi Gras. And I happened to have seen him just a few months prior to that, and he had riding a police car and said hello to him. And so I know it was a big loss for the community, quite obviously. His legacy lives on. The EMS 911 system is still going fantastic. The police surgeons have a regular rotation. His practice is doing phenomenal. So, but I know it was a great loss for the community, and I'm sure that it was a great loss to his wife. I know it was obviously a tremendous loss to his family. I know for a fact that the greatest loss was to his son. You've heard the comment. I'm sure you probably said it yourself. At times, not a day goes by. Speaking on a number of topics, but not a day goes by that you don't think of something, remember something. Well, quite obviously, 20 years later, not a day goes by that I don't think about that argument. Not a day goes by that I don't think about how much I wished that I could have won it sooner. If you hear me talking about this with such passion, you hear me arguing with somebody and it seems to be getting ugly, I don't mean to be rude. It is obviously my passion to win this argument with anyone. But this time, hopefully in time. thank y'all very much for listening today. Thank you very much for for your continued support of the Personalized Fitness Podcast. And it's why I tell you, if you have any questions, if you're offended by anything that I say, you have any questions dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, if you have any questions or want to discuss with me the lie of age, I relish the opportunity. Please don't hesitate to contact us at 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me, obviously, at Garrett, Garrett, at personalizedfitness.com. That's our website and our Facebook page. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to talk about this today. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share all these ideas and tips with you through the Personalized Fitness Podcast. And no one more important than, of course, the lie of age. That passion will always drive me, and it's a blessing because of the people that not only have I been able to help, but Personal Edge has been able to help through this affliction that we have of the belief of time passing on a calendar causing deterioration, which it doesn't. And like I say, I wish I could have won that argument much earlier. Because, well, that's definitely my level of wellness. Thank you.